order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, honorable city council members, to our mayor, to our city treasurer, and our city clerk in her absence, to our city attorney, the administrative staff, and the audience, our members of the audience who is present here in the council chambers and those viewing via our broadcast channel and YouTube Live. Welcome to the City of Romulus City Council regular meeting. Today is Monday, August 7, 2023. Members of the public wishing to participate in this meeting may do so under the public comment portion of the agenda. Please fill out a request to speak public comment card located on the table in the back of the chambers and hand it to me, the deputy clerk. At this time, we will have roll call. Councilwoman Abdo.
Here.
Councilman Barden.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe.
Yes, here.
Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
We know that Councilwoman Webb is excused, and
Excused.
Councilwoman Williams.
Here.
Mr. Chair, there is a quorum for tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
Tonight's regular meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda. Number 2, minutes. Number 3, petitioner. 4, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6, clerk's report. 7, treasurer's report. 8, public comment. 9, unfinished business. 10, new business. 11, communication. And number 12 is an adjournment. And a motion will be in order to accept tonight's regular meeting agenda as presented.
So moved to accept the regular meeting agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Talley, supported by Ms. Abdo for approval of the agenda as presented. Ms. Talley.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. Agenda item 2A for approval are the minutes from the regular meeting held on Monday, July 24, 2023 at 7:30 p.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
I will move that we approve the council meetings that was held on Monday, July 24th at 7:30.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Talley for approval of the minutes from our regular meeting held on Monday, July 24th at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Talley.
Yes.
Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams. Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. We have 2 petitioners under the petitioner item of the agenda. The first petitioner is requesting a approval of a block party petition. On August 1st, 2023, the clerk's office received a block party petition request by petitioner Courtney Seal with more than 51% of the signatures of property owners affected by the request. The petition was forwarded to the assessing, police ordinance, public works, and fire departments for their input and/or objections. The above departments raised no objections. However, the fire department, police department, and Department of Public Works note that a fire lane be open and accessible for any issues occurring north of the properties. The petitioner has indicated compliance with this request. The recommendation is to approve the block party petition for Sunday, September 3rd, 2023 from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and the closing of Canterbury Drive at Concord Drive and Sussex Drive at Surrey Drive for the stated event. I believe the petitioner is present to present his petition to council. You can step up to the podium.
All right.
How y'all doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good. You probably remember me from last year. We pretty much doing the same thing as last year. Got it all set up. I went and talked to the fire chief. They usually come out for the kids. We got book bags set up. We give a lot to the community. We feed the community. Everyone is invited. It's just something that special to us, and we wanted to keep it going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any comments from the council? No comments? Okay. Motion.
I'll make that motion that we approve the block party petition.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Williams for block party petition. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Thank you.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
All right now.
Thank you, City Council. The second petitioner is from Coralie Gellermino, and she would like to address City Council regarding the impact of the Ashley Capital project. I believe she's here.
Okay.
Ms. Gellermino, you can step to the podium.
Hi, I want to say my name is Coralie Gellermino, and I live at 8855 Cogswell. The first time I heard about this proposal was May of this year. I understand that this property was purchased by the city of Romulus several years ago and discovered that the land was toxic and sold to Ashley Capital in 2020. As that goes, I want to say that most of the residents that live in this area of Romulus will tell you that they moved here away from commercial buildings and businesses. Here they are mostly on Ecorse and Wayne Roads, the main streets. This will be the only commercial building going over the line on Ecorse directly into the residential area. It's a residential area neighborhood right now. Once it's allowed, it will not stop. We are rural, maybe even a little bit country. Our schools on Wick Road have a few scattered homes, usually with a couple of acres of land, with ditches and no street lights. Most of us have put extra mileage on our vehicles getting back and forth to work to live in this area and put our children in these community schools. This is not just about the land boundaries. I live on the boundary. That's why I received mailing. This is about our community schools. Wick Elementary is 2/10 of a mile from the proposed project. Romulus Middle School, which is right next door, is less than half a mile from the proposed project. And then the Romulus High School is less than a mile in the other direction on Wayne Road. The football team jogs to the middle school for practice. They have their games there. When are we going to take our students into consideration with this mile-long, 4-story high cyclops? Why has this not been brought in front of the voters? We have voted in an educational bond for the nearly 30 years that I have lived here, which means we are paying extra money for the education of these children. Why is this decision being made by City Council? Are you voting in representation of our taxpayers? This decision may make or break Romulus City Community Schools. And you will go down in history for this decision, good or bad. But I know personally, if this proposal passes, this council, I will never vote again for the bond. So you'll change significantly, because I believe a lot of our citizens feel the same way when they understand what has gone on, and no one has addressed the fact that the taxpayers are paying right there, within a mile. And this 4-story high building is going to go up, shining lights all the way through our neighborhood, which we don't have now. And our children are going to have to look at this cyclops as they ride their buses to school. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Through the chair, I would just like to share this with the mayor. I was at that meeting last week. I got a call from a resident. It wasn't just about Ashley Capital, but it was also about first-class storage unit that's going on Beverly Road. When are we going to consider the residents? You know, and as I said when I spoke with Ashley Capital, when they did this presentation, why is it no one can come here from other states and consider what the residents is in need of? And they went in front of the zoning boards of appeal asking for clearance to do things that originally wasn't granted. to put a light. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, instead of 14 feet, they wanted to go 25 feet up. Pertaining to, they said it was going to be a dry pond. But even on Inkster Road, in between those two homes where that commercial building went, they said it was going to be dry. And that pond stayed full of water. When are we going to consider the residents? I mean, that's who put us here. And the rest of the council can say and feel however. I'm very concerned. I ran for office to be a voice for the people. I'm not sure if it's Chandler or Shelton that chairs the meeting. Mayor, which one is it? He was so rude to those residents. Being the chair, and that speaks for us, because they thought it was council representing. He told them it didn't matter. He didn't care. Too bad. Get over it. How can you say that to residents, tax-paying residents? I was there. So you need to have a conversation with these board members that you appoint to make decisions. And when did he become qualified to make these kind of decisions? What kind of contract or what kind of expertise do he have to make these decisions to disrupt a community that's been there for decades? Asheville, Capity, Amazon, they don't care about us. They don't care about us. All they care about is the bottom line of the money that they're going to make. And I've thought about it. A lot of these new commercial buildings all over off of Wick and Vining, those big, humongous buildings, they're looking for people to rent or lease. So you got these older buildings, and so those companies are going to consider it going into the newer buildings. So then now you're going to have these old buildings sitting empty, like the strip just off of Eureka, a total strip mall, just totally empty. And then you have another little strip at Inkster and Ecorse. The only thing there is the liquor store. All the others are empty. Ecorse and Wayne Road, that whole little strip empty. Our goal as the legislative body, and Mayor, your goal as the executive branch, is to make sure that we're doing the necessary things to bring a fair and a decent livelihood to the residents. It's not about these big box buildings, the commercial buildings. How is it helping us? Amazon promised, and I'm sure the council remember, they promised that the trucks will be routed out from Vining to 94. Didn't happen. They was coming down Ecorse like Vining didn't even exist. Once these companies come in, who's watching over them to make sure they follow the guidelines? We have to do better. I stood in the back. I didn't even sit down. I stood in the back while those residents, the council chambers was full with residents. And I stood in the back and I listened to every last one of their comments. And they wasn't aware that the zoning board of appeal was voted in. They thought they were voted in. But you can't talk to residents like they're nothing. You can't. And you can't have a heart. You can't sit up here and pretend that, oh, we're such loving Christians, and then your actions say something totally different. It's time now, not just here, and I say this because this is how I was raised. It's not what you say, it's what you do. So I ask you to please have a conversation with all of those boards. Just because you appointed them there doesn't give them the right to disrespect and talk to the residents as they mean nothing. And the business folks who sitting there, they don't look at the board members that were sitting up there making decisions as big guys. Romulus is looked at as a dumping ground, as I told them. Everything that can't be put in another city, they come dump it here. They do. And we're so anxious to have something that we accept it. Romulus have, and I say this all the time, Romulus have the only international airport in the entire state of Michigan. And we don't have nothing around it for the people. What's our purpose? Our purpose,
It's under construction right now. You know, through the chair.
Yeah.
no, I'm not finished, Mayor. I'm not finished, Mayor. Hold on.
Hold on. Go
Right,
ahead,
I'm not
finish.
finished, John.
Finish.
Right.
Go ahead,
That's what I'm gonna do.
go ahead.
I understand you say it's not finished. I understand that. I've been around for a long time. I was around when you was the, electrical guy, inspector? I've been around for a long time. And I've been knowing you for a long time. Way before you became the building director, and now that you're the mayor. So I'm not new to this. What I'm saying is, that was very hurtful of what happened the other night when Ashley Capital was in front of the zoning boards of appeal. It was embarrassing. And I spoke on it, and I'm speaking on it now because those were residents spilling their heart. Someone was saying that if it come, they're leaving. We don't care, but we're studying saying we need more rooftops in order to get commercial buildings. We've been saying the same thing over and over again, but yet and still, Belleville, Van Buren, and every city around us, Canton, used to be nothing but sticks. And look at Canton on Michigan Avenue. Look at Belleville. So we're doing something that's not drawing the right businesses. Now I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Any other from council? Mr. Wadsworth?
Hey, Mayor, did you want to talk first? Go ahead.
Yeah, just in response to that, I watched the video, I haven't seen it yet. Michelle Chan has been a long-standing member of this community, and a volunteer that would outshine most volunteers. I've never seen Sheldon act like that, not saying he didn't have a bad night about that, but take a look at that, he's always thinking about the residents first. I think he's, almost 90 years old, he's out there working on our cemetery just on a weekly basis, so Sheldon's always been a pillar in this community, and a model for character and integrity. So I'll take a look at the video, and if he was in a bad day, he can address residents, and we'll talk to him about that. But right now, as it stands, I'm going to give Sheldon the benefit of the doubt because of the things that he does in the city, and I'll take a look at it and we'll work with him. As far as bringing in the things that residents want, economic development is a tricky thing. And any developer will tell you, I've been doing it for years in this community, the first thing they look for is where's the dollars at? If I'm going to put a store here, where are the money's at? Where are the jobs at? Where are the rooftops at? And if you don't meet the criteria with rooftops, and also median income, then you'll get a dollar store or an auto parts store, because that's what they bring here. And if you see the changes that are coming and the things that we've had, the momentum on Merriman Road, you see that these things are working. When they see jobs coming, or buildings coming out of the ground, they see jobs coming to the area. I'll go to Kelsey Hayes years ago. Romulus thrived on Kelsey Hayes because you had 1,000 jobs at one site. And when that went away, nobody was watching. Downtown drizzled away. Dailies, JoJo's, all these stores that were there for years, they all went away. So they might not be those sexy things, but they're jobs, and they bring money to the area. And any economic development director, or on the private side or the public side, would tell you that's key to developing an area. As far as the Ashley site, got a great partnership with Ashley. They bought the property, and they had to develop it. It's a contaminated site right now. This is a means to an end. Do we all want to see warehouses in wooded areas? No, we all don't want to see that. I live in the area as well. I go by there a lot. But when people are allowed to develop it a certain way and it's permitted in that site, the city gets in front of that. We have a risk for liability. They were in front of the BZA just on some site violations, or some site non-compliance issues that they're working on, ask for variances on. BZA is not the sounding board for these sites or the last site, the last authority have jurisdiction over the site. They'll still go through process. But I'm also confused because it went through city council and it was approved through the Brownfield, and you were chairing that meeting that night. So you voted yes on this project.
But I did not vote for them to come back and ask to extend the light from 14 to 25.
Granted, that's
what we're
BZA's
talking about.
job.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. And I made notes of the concerns that she had with the lighting and the traffic and the other issues. And there was concerns that there was some traffic that might be increased on Wick Road. This site's all gonna front on Ecorse Road. It won't come on the Wick Road. So the traffic won't be there, but the lighting, that's one of the things I noted here, the height of the buildings, the dry ponds. I saw Mr. Justice came to the meeting, and we went to his site on Inkster Road, and it is holding water. So we're already working with a developer on that site to say, hey, wait a minute, what you designed is not working as promised. So we're working with them. But in order to bring development, the things that we want that will benefit residents of this community, we have to have jobs and we have to have creation here. You have to have money in an area for them to come. And that's the intent, that's what we're trying to get done here.
John.
And there's also tax base.
John.
You know, these buildings in here, if Ashley Capital builds these, the tax base will help the schools. So,
Mr. Wadsworth? Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, first of all, I've got to compliment these folks for coming and speaking out. I personally am disappointed how the zoning board of appeals voted that night, but I'm not going to run any of them down. I personally think that this project is too big for this area. There's no ifs and buts about that. And you know, I thought that we were done with any warehouses coming west of Wick and Vining, but obviously it doesn't appear that we're not. And I think it's just too big for the area, and that's my own opinion. Thank you.
And Mayor, I want to make this clear. I'm not trying to beat up or talk down on Shelton. Just the statement that he made to the residents was a little over the top, as far as being disrespectful. So I'm not talking about what he may have done down through the years as a volunteer or what he continually does in the city as a volunteer, but what happened that night. That's what I'm speaking on. Thank you.
okay.
Any other comments
Through
from
the chair.
Ms. Talley?
Mayor, if you could, I know you weren't here, but there was a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Kevin Kraus headed Retail Strategies that's come to our city to address. And if I wish you could speak about that a little bit, because what was the interesting thing about it and what was good about it is that the residents were there in that meeting to provide feedback. I know you weren't here, but I know you can speak to Retail Strategies and what their purpose here in the city of Romulus and what the big picture it is for Retail
Right.
Strategy, and that there were residents involved in that meeting as well regarding Retail Strategies in the city of Romulus. If you could speak to that.
Thank you. And it is a great point. We're trying to look under everything. We're leaving no stone unturned. Why weren't we developed back in the day? So I have an article on my desk that showed when the city first became incorporated that we were going to be a major hub in Wayne County with a population of 90,000 by 2020. Well, here we are, fast forward 50 years, and we're at the same total we were then. So we're working with companies like Retail Strategies that look at the market and they grab database, who's traveling through the area, how do we get those people to stop and spend dollars here and market? And they're working with the residents as far as what they want to see in our downtown district. So that's what it is we didn't have, somebody that had outside opportunities and outside connections. So their job is to collect the data that we have here, help to market the city. They've already been to trade shows in numerous different states. And they're helping to market our city in different areas, like, hey, this is what's going on in Romulus, right off of the Metro Airport, and this is the International Airport, and this is the traffic counts off of 94 and 275, and there's 25,000 residents here, but there's also 21,000 badged employees in that airport alone. Those are things that need to get things in here. We look at this strip mall that Councilwoman Williams mentioned on Eureka Road. Why is it sitting vacant? Why aren't people getting the ideas to come here? And we're trying to look under every stone and find out how we incentivize them to come here and show them the benefits and show them what's here. But across the board, the answer you'll always hear is where's the dollars at? If I'm going to put a store in here, who's going to buy a $5 cup of coffee? How do we get a Starbucks if there's no market for it? So we started to work that, increase, if you look at the census, it shows that we're increasing rooftops and we're increasing median income. It never happens as fast as we want it, but the data doesn't lie. So it shows we're trending in the right direction. So what their job is to get those messages to people and tell them, not why not Romulus, more, why not Romulus? It should be here. So we'll continue to work with Retail Strategies. Hopefully have some good momentum with them and working with them. They're listening to the residents, what they want to see here. But we're just trying to find creative ways to bring those things here that's going to benefit our residents we've always wanted to see.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
And North Point's a good start. North Point's going to have 4 more commercial or retail buildings that'll be along their site on Wick Road. The first one is Sheets, and it's just that first olive out of the bottle. It could be a bank, it could be a dry cleaner, it could be whatever, but it's got to be benefits to the resident, and that's going to start that economic spur, we hope, that's the vision, down Wick Road and into our hotel district. That's another district we feel is underutilized as far as marketing our community is the hotel district. All those people that are staying in the hotel, they need something to do. So that's part of Retail Strategies' job is to get that out and tell that story.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Abdo and then Councilwoman Williams.
When they came before us for the brownfield development, they did not indicate that they were going to come back for special land use, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, the special land use, specifically the lighting thing, does negatively impact the residents around there. Point being, there was an area over on North Line, and it was, I can't remember the street, where a building had just been built, and the lighting lit up all the neighborhood. And I can see why they're not wanting this special land use. And just because if we don't, I know this comes before us on the 28th, right?
I believe so. It'll
That
be
doesn't
back
mean
and
they
forth, and we'll
still
make sure
can't
everybody
build
knows
there,
about
but it means that it won't affect the residents as much. I mean, extending the lighting is not a good idea for the residents at all.
And that's a note that I captured too. I have the petition here that was submitted, that all the residents signed, and those concerns, and I have a meeting already scheduled with Ashley Capital to sit down and talk to them
Yeah, that's-
about the site as well. We also had an interesting meeting with Ashley Capital in Wayne County, because the goal is to leverage that relationship with Wayne County to try to get Ecorse Road widened and improved all the way down. So we talk about the economic development occurring on Ecorse Road between Inkster Road and Hannon, and that infrastructure just simply does not handle it. And this is another relationship to bring to the table that makes Wayne County go, wait a minute, what's going on here? What do we need to do? So now you have Ford, GM, Ashley Capital, Amazon, Delta. Those are all the loud voices we bring to the table and talk to Wayne County about that road.
I'm concerned with the Ashley Capital buildings that they now have on Vining Road. I know that they're not complete yet, but that's a monstrosity that they've built there. And we don't even know if those have been filled yet.
The one on Vining Road?
Any of them on Vining Road. I mean, I drove by there the other day, I went, oh my God.
Are you referring to North Point?
Yeah, I mean,
So far
yeah,
they have
Ashley
one.
Capital's building all over the place, but I'm not sure, I mean, that's fine where it is over there, but I don't agree with the special land request in this area. It's too close to a residential area.
Well, the special land use became because of the zoned use will only allow up to 80,000 square foot buildings. So rather than having several small buildings, they consolidated. That's why they needed the special land use approval.
Maybe it's not a good idea for the residential area, because that is a very nice residential area over there. I'm done.
As I said before, you know, with Amazon and Mayor, you wasn't the mayor at the time, Amazon, that area was changed over and zoned for Amazon to fit right there in the middle of a residential area. And so when are we gonna consider residents? That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm a resident too. I'm a taxpayer.
So am I.
And I understand that. But at the same time, I'm speaking against what is not benefiting the residents. I understand what you're saying, what you're working on, We've been working on things, let me see, since 1971, when we became a city in 1970. So how long does it take for Romulus to get what we need versus other cities? One thing we have to do, we have to be in every department in this city. We gotta be more fair. We gotta be even across the board. We can't do something for one and not for the other. You got a lot of businesses, they're not willing to pay to play, and Romulus is known to pay to play. So we gotta get-
No. I'm not gonna
No,
let you sit there
I'm
and
not
say
finished.
that. We
I'm not
don't do
finished.
pay to
If
play
you don't
here.
agree, you just wait, Mayor. This
Oh.
not your meeting, this the council meeting.
Well, if you're gonna spew stuff,
Don't-
then council meeting.
Let's get some
This is
order-
not
order
your
here.
meeting.
Order,
Excuse me,
please.
Chair, I'm speaking. You
Yeah,
speak
wait,
to
hold
him.
on, hold on.
So-
We'll get some chair here. Go ahead, finish now.
So.
We want
It's
organization
not
here.
offensive to you. If you won't take it offensive, that's your problem. But you know what have happened in the past here in Romulus. The residents know. This is not against you. You wasn't in control. So you have no business of being offensive about it. We have to move away from that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not accusing you of anything. I know where you was. I know you didn't have no control over anything. You didn't do anything. It was those that was in leadership. But I'm saying, now that you have the leadership, let's move away from that. I'm not saying you doing anything, Mayor. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is people are talking about what has happened in the past, so we have to make sure we're definitely moving away from that so we can have a better image. That's what I'm saying. So I want to be clear again, it was not against you personally at all.
Okay, no, and I appreciate that, and I know that there were things said about this community in the past, and I can't, deny them or validate them. I can assure you, my administration will not operate that way, and we're just trying everything we can to get Romulus to where it needs to be, to attain that level, have that economic development, and growth in this community where we're gonna have those things. So, We'll talk about the North Point site and the Wick Road development, and we'll see what's there. And, you know, we've had corn and beans over there for years, and now we have some tax base and some jobs coming to the area. So the seeds are planted. There's a vision. We can't control everything. We don't have a crystal ball. We'll do the best we can. And that's why we're thinking outside the box and trying to bring in retail strategies and other outfits like that to help us, you know, obtain those goals. So, but the goal is always about the residents. We're always trying to work for that. And like I said, I've jotted the notes down here, and I'm going to talk to Ashley Capel again this week and see how we move forward.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Just one final word. You know, I voted for this, like everybody, you know, voted for it up here, but I had no idea that they were going to go get special land approval. I just feel that it's too big to be put there. There's a lighting problem, and it just doesn't fit there. In fact, I live down on Barth Road, and just south in Pennsylvania, which is about 2 miles from me. They have the railroad station where they board vehicles on trains, you know, 24 hours a day. At midnight, you can look up and see the sky is bright, and that's 2 miles from my house. And I don't like that, and I'm sure that these folks aren't going to want us being put there. I just think it's too big, too big. Okay.
And I was talking to a business, just to let the mayor know, I was talking to a business, and they contemplating on looking into bringing in like a small grocery store, like Uncle Joe's, but, you know, it's a lot of business folks that want to bring more gas stations. That's something else we don't need any more of. And so we really need to work with that business to, I mean, that would be wonderful to get a small market like Uncle Joe's in our city. We may not be a major grocery store, but something to where people can go buy, you know, just the necessary needs every day. So we need to definitely consider, whether it be planning or whether it be this board, about constantly opening the doors for more gas stations, you know, on different properties, different corner lots, because even Sheets is a gas station, gas station, where I don't know, they don't know what they want to call it. They want to call it a restaurant, a truck stop. So, but we have to really get behind those that's willing to spend their money and bring businesses in that's going to benefit the residents. Thank you.
Any other comments from council?
Through the chair, I do have one more last comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Alley.
When we talk about progression in the city moving forward, Mayor, I just want to thank you. You've only been in office 2 years, you know, and you're trying to exact change in this city from, you know, whatever went on in the past, whatever. You know, this is your administration now. You're trying to move our city forward. You didn't put a lot of steps in place to move our city forward, and it's only been 2 years. So I just need to note that for the record, the work you have done, the impact that has been made in the 2 years you've been mayor. Just thank you for your efforts in trying to move our city forward.
Thank you, but it's been a credit to the team. I mean, we've had the Planning Commission, BZA, City Council, everybody has been really helpful to get us where we're at. And we're all frustrated because it's long overdue in this community. So I get it, and I love the passion for our community. And I live here too. I want to see these things too. So we're doing everything we can to try to find out how we unlock that key and unlock that lock and continue to grow here. So thank you, though, for your comments.
Any comments from the council? First of all, I'd like to thank you for your comments. This matter is not on the council agenda tonight, but will be on the council agenda by August the 28th. We will advise you to, when it's on the agenda, you and others can attend the meeting and provide any additional comments at that time. Thank you.
Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. At 6:30, we had a closed session involving our attorney opinion. And at this time, the chairman is going to recognize Councilwoman Roscoe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 different motions tonight that we need to go over after our special meeting. And the first one is a resolution to terminate HVAC contract with Campbell Incorporated. If I can get a motion, support with a motion.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for the cancel the Campbell contract. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
What contract was that about? Because I wasn't here at the special meetings.
Attorney.
That involves the contract for the heating and cooling systems of the city, all the buildings in the city. And under their current contract, they're responsible for the preventative maintenance, and they're responsible for also performing needed repairs to the equipment.
Okay, so you had a special meeting, and normally, even if a council person is not there, why wasn't that document left in front? Because, I'm not gonna
Well,
vote on something I don't have absolutely.
There was a copy of,
It's nothing here.
Hold on, I'll give you mine.
I'll get you a copy of it, but yeah, it was, I did put one there.
I said I wasn't here, so I'm not gonna vote.
Okay, so the motion was by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion is approved.
Okay, and through the chair, the second motion I have here is to waive the bidding requirements of the city purchasing ordinance and to authorize administration to negotiate an HVAC contract for maintenance of the city-owned equipment with Gym Services Rudolph Libby Group. The contract will be provided to council for approval. So this isn't approving the contract, this is just giving them the go-ahead to negotiate a contract.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth. This is a motion to waive the bidding requirements of the city purchasing ordinance and to authorize the administration to negotiate a HVAC contract for maintenance of city-owned equipment with GEM Service Rudolph Liberty Group. This contract will be provided to council for approval. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion from city council, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved. At this time, that concludes the chairperson's report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to accept your report.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for approval of the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council, Deputy Clerk, members of the audience here, and those at home watching in, tune in tonight. Before I get into action items on my report, I'd like to direct your attention to the monitor. We have Ms. Vanessa Tolliver from the Mayor's Office doing an update on activities in our community.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Tolliver, and here are some events happening in Romulus. There will be a full night of fun events for the family taking place this Friday. Motor City Soul will take the stage from 7 p.m. to 9:30 for the last sounds in downtown for the season. Enjoy free live music and local vendors. Immediately following Sounds of Downtown, the fun will shift to the Historical Park Pavilion for the last free movie in the park for the season. The feature film will be Super Mario Brothers movie. There will be activities and games for kids leading up to the start of the movie. The community is invited to the grand opening celebration of Opportunity Park on Monday, August 14th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be a short ceremony followed by a ribbon cutting. Come out and enjoy a hot dog, drinks, and snacks as we celebrate the opening of this new park. The next One Romulus community meeting will be held on Wednesday, August 16th at Romulus Pentecostal Baptist Church beginning at 6 p.m. This forum where residents can share ideas and concerns with public officials, public safety leaders, and neighbors. Mayor McCray will provide an update on the latest city news, followed by time reserved for questions and idea sharing for those in attendance. Thanks, everyone, and remember to like and share us on Facebook and YouTube, or visit our website for more information. You have an amazing night.
Thank you, Vanessa. Great job as usual. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who signed this petition and took the time to circulate this. I got some good information here. It's not going unheard. I've already scheduled a meeting with Ashley Capital to talk about how we can all work out something that's mutually beneficial to all parties, and talk about some of the concerns we have. And I've highlighted the lighting. The site was too big. There's some different things we had that came out of that meeting. I've made some notes here, and it's not going unheard. I live in the area as well. I'm not a big fan of lighting in the area and additional, noise and possible, the negative impacts that goes with commercial industrial development. However, when people own a site and it's zoned a certain way, they're allowed to develop it, and then the city can only do so many things to halt them. So we want to make sure we're being, careful and cautious, and then also working with these guys. Ashley Capital has been a great neighbor in our community for a long time. We're going to continue to try to work with them on this site, and we'll see what we can figure out. But it didn't go unheard, so thank you very much for participating. Also, some good news. We were notified that we are the recipient of another grant that's going to help shore up our pensions for our police and police and first responders, but mostly our police department. So we were awarded a grant in the amount of $8.4 million that's going to help shore up and take care of our retired police officers. So that's great news. There was an unfunded liability there, and this will cover that gap. So I'm happy about that, and any of our police officers watching, I'm sure they'll sleep a little bit better at night knowing that there's additional funds for their pension. That being said, I'll go right to the action items on my report tonight. So first, I would ask the council concur with the administration and adopt a settlement agreement, general release between the City of Romulus and Blue Ribbon Contracting, and the data's supporting that's all attached to that form. But any questions if you have, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion
Roscoe?
to concur with the administration and adopt the settlement agreement and general release between the City of Romulus and Blue Ribbon Contracting Incorporated.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for a resolution to approve the settlement agreement and mutual release between the City of Romulus and Blue Ribbon Contracting Incorporated. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, what is it that this company is, what did they not do that we're not willing to pay the amount that they billed to the city?
There was an issue with hazardous material abatements at these demolish sites, and they had some miscommunications on their end, and they did some work that they didn't communicate to the city for, and they gave us a wrong quote. So we tried to meet them halfway in the middle. We have some ability to help them out and pay some of their costs, but a lot of it was due to miscalculations on their part and some unseen things too. Once they got to the demolition, they found some other materials. So some costs we could substantiate, but some was just, for lack of a better word, they just didn't cross an I or dot a T during the bid process.
So this is a settlement between Blue Ribbon and the City of Romulus. They agree to it?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
The amount that they went over the contract that council approved was $18,000. So in light of things happen when you do a construction, we decided to meet them in the middle on it and help them out. And also, the work was taken care of, the work was addressed. But we just couldn't see ourselves, footing the whole bill when part of it was due to something that they had missed on their end.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion from council? If not, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. The next item I have is to purchase a new truck for our mechanics in the DPW fleet. I would ask that council concur with the administration, consent to piggyback on the My Deal contract 071B77000180 for the purchase of a 2023 Ford F-250 Super Cab 4x4 pickup at the cost of $50,808 from Longhammer Ford.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
I will move that we approve the piggyback on the MI deal contract for the 2023 Ford F-250 Super Pickup 4x4 in the amount of $50,808.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to piggyback on the MI-Deal contract for 2023 Ford F-250 Super Cab 4x4 pickup. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Ms. Williams. Mr. Talley, did you have a discussion?
Does somebody else have some?
Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
I just wanted to know, who would this vehicle, who will have use of this vehicle?
That vehicle goes to our mechanics. Our mechanics have a truck with a welder and an air compressor, and if somebody breaks down on the road, they have to be able to go and get them and tow them in or facilitate repairs on the road, so they have to be mobile. And I believe the truck they have now is about 1996, so it's more than outlived its life, so time to put the mechanics in a new truck, especially when they're taking care of our other fleet, bringing them in, so.
Well, I just want to say, I know for 2023, F-150 Super, 50,000 is a good deal.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Ms. Talley?
Yeah, so what's going to happen with this old truck that we said we're moving it to building and grounds use, but it don't seem like it'd be good for nothing?
We do need an occasional kind of a chase vehicle in our
Okay.
building and grounds department. Sometimes when our crews go out, they'll go like 3 in a truck. And a lot of times, because we're staffed at the levels we are, a lot of those members of that crew will be called to another job site, so we'll use that truck for that type of purpose.
It's
But
still
it's-
running?
Excuse me?
It's still running?
It's still running.
Okay.
You know.
How many miles it got on it?
Like 120-something thousand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, if there are no other discussion, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item I have up is budget amendment for capital improvements. So I ask the council to concur with the administration and introduce budget amendment 2324-2 to cover the capital improvement projects as approved by the library board on July 17, 2023.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to concur with administration and introduce and support budget amendment 23/24-2 to cover the capital improvement project at the library.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for introduction of budget amendment 23/24-2. Any discussion?
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Talley.
Mayor, do we know what this capital outlay is for?
I have our librarian here. She'd be more than happy to explain to you.
Oh, there she is, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is a capital improvement budget that we had planned last fiscal year. It was scheduled to be done already in the spring, but there was a time delay, and so now it's moved to the fall. So
Okay.
the plan is to do upgrades to the adult area.
Yeah, I remember.
Including adding study rooms, which we've never had before, and people are requesting a place to have quiet study. So we want to add study space and new lighting. Our lighting is extremely old. I believe it's the original lighting, 50 years old. So it's to do those types of upgrades.
No, thank you for refreshing my memory. I remember now.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. And one last, just a FYI regarding E-Course and Wayne Road intersection, the rebuild there. I know there's been a lot of conversation. They have been, you know, the road surface itself has been removed, but they found some utilities and a fuel tank there that weren't on the original plan, so they're trying to figure out ways to address those issues and continue construction. So Roberto had some meetings this week with Wayne County to keep them on track and get them on point, but right now they're dealing with the underground fuel storage tank that wasn't evacuated, and also some utilities that weren't properly marked on their plan. So that's the reason it was a slowdown. They pulled their guys off site, but I believe they're back on site now, right, Roberto? Yeah. So we're moving forward on that, and we're still hopeful. We know how construction goes, but by end of 2023, that should be done. So
Thank you for updating us.
thank you.
Thank
That
you.
concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Number 6 is the clerk's report. There are 2 action items under the clerk's report. Agenda item 6A, it is requested that council approve the second reading and final adoption to amendments to Chapter 26, Article 1, Section 26-3, Permanent Structure and Mobile Food Service of the City of Romulus Code of Ordinance. This amendment adds regulations on the location of portable food trucks or carts and allows portable food trucks or carts to be located on private, commercial, or industrial zone properties with consent from the property owner if said property owners pay a site visit fee. This ordinance was introduced at the July 24, 2023 regular meeting.
Need a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make that motion for
Okay.
second reading and final adoption to amendments to Chapter 26, Article 1, Section 26 through 3 of the Romulus Code of Ordinances, and this is in regards to the mobile food services.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley for second reading and final adoption of amendments to Chapter 26, Article 1, Section 26-3 of the Romulus Code of Ordinance. Any discussion?
Yes,
Ms. Williams?
because I haven't been here, and so I missed a lot. I know the, A is saying add regulations. What regulations? Because I'm looking through the paperwork and it's something that's blotted out in red. But what regulations are you adding to mobile food trucks or,
Well, it's got a lot of criteria as to
location?
what kind of food truck, the location, the inspection process of the truck before it can be used, and the fact that the truck has to be removed at the end of the business day, the time that you can be open, so we don't have food trucks just sitting around on these lots. And so it's basically the regulation as to what you have to go through in order to have a food service truck.
So is that it with all of this? And what you just said, that's it?
Yeah. The new thing was, when we first started out in the ordinance, was that the only food service trucks were going to be on municipal property, and they had to go through getting permission from the city. But they found that the owners of the vehicles that are in that business didn't necessarily want to be on municipal sites because of the traffic or lack of traffic of them. So that's still in here. We can still do that. So if we can get some that'll want to go to the downtown area, et cetera, we can do that. But in addition to that, we've added that they can be on private commercial sites if they meet the criteria that's set forth in this ordinance.
So it doesn't include private residential, or you're saying just private commercial only?
Commercial.
That's it, no residential?
I think it does allow, if you're having some other function, if you're having a block party, for example, you can have one as part of that on a it would be actually sitting on a residential property.
Is that in here?
Yeah.
Where is that in here at? Because I don't want to vote on something and voting against residents that do have food trucks but can't use it on private property, residential property, and not just commercial property.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Roscoe.
Probably page 50, number 10 would probably address that food truck shall not be located on any property without permission. So it's telling you, as long as you have permission, it can be located on any property from the property owner.
Okay,
So it doesn't just say commercial there, it says property owner.
thank you.
Through the chair.
Councilmember Celeste.
Yes, sir.
Specifically, if you look at Section P, it states portable food truck, service trucks or carts may be located on residentially zoned property for a period of 24 hours, provided that it is not located on any street or sidewalk.
Each what?
That is not located on a street or a sidewalk. It could be located on a residentially zoned property.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion from council? Roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. Agenda item 6B is a study session request. The clerk's office is requesting a 30-minute study session on Monday, September the 5th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. to discuss a proposed charter amendment. The date and time are available for the request.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wadsworth?
I will move, but it's not Monday, it's Tuesday, September the 5th.
That is correct. My apologies.
I move that we have a meeting on Tuesday, September the 5th at 6:30.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo, for study session request for Tuesday, September the 5th at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
I have a question.
You have a question, Ms. Williams? Go
Yes.
ahead.
I have a question. I want to make sure, we're talking about discussing a charter amendment. There's nothing on here to say what we will be discussing that we can actually, so we have to wait until September the 5th to actually know what we're going to be discussing. I think all residents should be told about this, that for those that want to attend can know, because a charter amendment has to go to the ballot. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So then the residents need to know even before we vote to send it to the ballot, what we're voting to send to the ballot. Because a lot of times the residents don't find out, for whatever reason, don't find out until they actually go to the polls and see it and they don't understand it. So to be transparent, we need to definitely make sure that the residents is aware that we're gonna be discussing, making changes to the charter and sending it to them for a vote.
Absolutely, and I wanted to mention that, but I believe the motion was made before I could finish with my discussion. So the proposed charter amendment, what we would like to present to council with the data to provide is a recommendation to reduce the regular meetings from 3 to 2. In our research, we have identified that we are the only municipality in Southeast Michigan, as well as a very, very small handful of municipalities in the state of Michigan that have 3 regular meetings that is required by our charter. Larger municipalities such as Warren, Sterling Heights, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Canton, all of them are required to have 2 regular meetings in their charter. And we have 3. So we would like to present that to council, and should council approve, we would like to present it on the ballot for the pre-presidential primary election.
Okay, appreciate informing, because the residents, anytime you're talking about changing the rules of the city, it's just not a decision of the elected officials. The people should know and have an opportunity to come and speak if they choose to. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion
Yes.
approved. Oh.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Okay. Chair also votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. That will conclude the clerk's report. Number 7 is the treasurer's report.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good evening. I don't have anything under my report this evening, but I do want to mention that we had 2 councilwomen that had a birthday on Sunday, and that was Eva Webb and Virginia Williams. So happy birthday to you. And Miss Eva, if you're listening at home, happy birthday to you. Thank you. And that is it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. Number 8 is public comment. This is the portion of the agenda for those in the audience who would like to address the city council. The rules to address city council can be found on the back of the meeting agenda. If you would like to address city council, please raise your hand, and after being acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. Please note, members of the public who submitted a public comment card will be called upon first. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Any additional time will be upon the consent of the chairperson. Mr. Chair, we did receive 2 public comment cards. The first one is from Tony Heimberger.
Good evening. Tony Heimberger here on River Drive, Romulus. I have a couple items tonight. The first one is $20,058.99. I spoke to Kathy Abdo 2 weeks ago about Big Steve's and the money he owed us and the taxes. Why are we still paying it? No, she assured me he is up to date. This figure is as today's amount that he owes for taxes that the city paid, the taxpayers paid. That's where the city gets their money from, including the DDA, gets it from the taxpayers. So we paid his property tax again. Are we getting interest? Is he having to pay a finance charge every month on this money? Or is it just a free loan to him? And when's it going to be paid back? Because we don't have an extra $20,000 just to be paying other people's property taxes. The next item won't be too nice. For Miss Talley to call any neighborhood in our city a hood is not correct. You did it at a council meeting, and you were speaking to our clerk. If you want to call areas in our city hoods, go back to Inkster where you grew up. We are not going to have any hoods in our city. We don't believe in that. We don't need it. We are better than that. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Talley.
First of all, when I said hood, it meant neighborhood, and it was short for hood. That's what I said that for. So I'm gonna leave it at that, Mr. Barton. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams? Thank you.
Mayor, I know I haven't been here for a while, I remember, if I can remember the last time the city went on and paid, because it is our bill. You explain that to me. The city went on and paid the $10,000, or $9,000 or something, right at $10,000 for the Big Steve. So when did the council approve additional money?
The city council hasn't approved additional monies for this. It's when the charter states if a building's not being used for municipal process, it goes back on tax rolls. That's why when we started leasing these properties, they became taxable. And the debt is not forgiven. This is being calculated. Our DDA director was supposed to set a meeting up with them this week to find out where we're at, how we're going to get out of this situation, or we're going to get to a point where it's going to be no longer tenable, and if the business is not sustainable, they're going to have to find a different route. But right now, we're still trying to work with these people, and it is an uncomfortable situation, but we started this program prior to my administration, and it's all about business incubation. So we're hoping maybe he'd get profitable, be able to pay the city money back, but the city cannot subsidize private business with tax dollars. That's just not going to happen. So that debt will have to be paid, and we are going to continue to work with that property owner, that tenant to, time's up. But we'll continue to work with that tenant as well, so.
Time up, Mayor. No,
Okay.
just playing. Go ahead.
But see, I have a problem with it because I was talking to the fire chief. I haven't heard any more from him. And that's what I was saying, Mayor, and again, it's not directed to you. We can't be one-sided. We can't do one resident or business one way. The contract clearly says, and they got angry with me and spread a bunch of lies, but they talked about Jesus, so who am I? You cannot violate a contract that you signed and then just keep it going. You can't, and now it's up to $20,000? Remember, plain as day, I'm a council person, I'm a resident. My bill, after us working with the city attorney and you, Mayor, about the water bill that was excessive, went from 10 units to 50 units, and all of a sudden I'm making my payments, and then all of a sudden my water gets turned off. But yet and still, we're gonna continually make excuses. I'm not saying evict anyone, I'm not saying put them out, but if a person sign a contract, and this is any court in this country, if you sign a contract, that contract is a binding contract. And once you violate it, it's a done deal. You don't just keep looking for ways. It's not fair to take taxpayers' dollars and continually make up for what someone else can't afford. And so the city, instead of moving forward and keep looking for other avenues and doing other things and making excuses, the city needs to move forward with what should happen. What would happen if it was anyone else? I'm shocked, because I haven't been here. I'm shocked that the $10,000 wasn't paid. So evidently, the previous winter bill wasn't paid or summer bill wasn't paid, and now it's an additional added. That's ridiculous. Totally unacceptable, because, and that's what I was saying earlier, nothing against you again, but we have to be fair and straight down the road, and even whether it's a resident or whether it's a business, everybody get the same treatment. No one should be able to just escape the rules that everybody should follow. I'm shocked that Mr. Heimberg have came up here and said that. I'm really shocked. I mean, I know I've been gone, I haven't been keeping up for what has been going on, but that 20,000, city attorney, if you want to keep your job, you need to start talking, for real. Because you know, you are over there putting people out of Romulus housing for less than that. And you know it. You're over at the court. Come on now. We're paying you good money. And I know you give the mayor good advice, but you need to speak up on this because it's not right. That 20,000 don't sit right with me. The 10,000 wasn't, but the mayor said he just wanted to work with him and give him a chance, and I said, okay. But now it's additional money? Do you know how many businesses is out there that would be willing to go in that building and pay even more of the amount that contract is for? So as the city attorney, I'm a council person, I was elected by the people. I asked you to do your job. Get them papers, get them papers rolling, because 20,000, that's way too much. That's way too much. So either we gotta do our job, or I can find somebody else to do it. I mean, I really can't. Because we cannot, and that's what I was telling the zoning boards of appeal. We cannot look like idiots. We cannot keep looking like a dumping ground. You know, they laughing at us. We have to be more professional and more caring. I'm shocked. Thank you, John. I'm just blown away.
Any other comments from the audience?
Mr. Chair, we do have another public comment card, and this is from Franklin Shout. I apologize if I pronounce your name.
Okay, all right.
Good evening. My name's Franklin Shout. I live in Romulus on Wick Road. I'm doing a follow-up. I came to you guys back in December 27th of 2022 to talk to you about the traffic on Wick Road and the semis running down Wick Road. I was assured that you would you would do a study. Well, while you guys were doing your study, I did a study from my front porch. I watched more semis come. I watched more traffic come going even faster. The average traffic speed on our road now, when your tattletale's there, it's about 47 miles an hour. When it's not there, it's anywhere from 55 to 65 miles an hour, with semis doing the same. The chief of police came and talked to me, sat on my porch, and blew a lot of smoke up my backside, telling me how they can't do nothing really about it, that, that he just doesn't have the people to enforce the law on that street. I mean, how can we not enforce the law? It's a no commercial vehicle. It's not hard to understand. I'm a truck driver. I drove a truck for a living. No commercial vehicle means no commercial vehicle. It doesn't mean, well, I can't get through here, it's an inconvenience, so I'll go down this road. If we're not, enforcing the laws, what law can I break? What law are you guys gonna let me break and get away with and not enforce? Because, hell, I mean, give me a good one, please. This is ridiculous. I can't walk out to my mailbox without the danger of somebody coming by and running my ass over. Neighbor kid getting close to the road. A kid's gonna get run over out there with these semis. They come by, laugh at us, give us the finger, blow the horn, throw piss bottles out their windows. This is just fantastic. We asked for speed bumps, they couldn't do it, liability. Nothing's been done, it's gotten worse. You know, you guys haven't done nothing for us. You say that it's because of the construction down there, but that construction wasn't going on in December of '22 when I come and addressed you. They say it's going to go away after all this, that Ashley Capital won't use it to go out on E-course. Sure they will. If there's a train there, they'll make a left, a left, a left. They'll come right down Wick Road and make a right on Wayne. I'm a truck driver. I know how they think. It's easy. We can get away with it. They let us. They didn't enforce it. They'll do it again. You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, if the citizens, if you would have spent as much time talking to the citizens as you did with Ashley Capital about how we feel the people that live on Wick Road, we probably wouldn't be here worrying about Ashley Capital, because maybe you would have made the right decision and not put that crap in our backyard. Or in my case, my front yard. I get to look right across the road for it. Beautiful thing. Me and my wife decided we purchased land in a house in Alabama. We're going to leave. I know of 2 other people selling on Cogswell because of this project. They're going to leave. I've talked to 3 or 4 more that's probably going to sell. So, this what you want? You want your citizens to leave and put in more businesses? It's not helping us. They're not hiring from Romulus. When Amazon come in, they straight said that, well, the people at Romulus were too stupid, couldn't pass the test. Are they going to give a different test this time to give these jobs out? I highly doubt it's going to be the same test, and it's not going to help us none. Money's going to go to people in different cities. They're going to take it home with them and support their communities, not ours. Ours will still suffer. You know, I heard tax base from this, getting a tax base, 10% for 23 years. I was here, I heard Ashley Capital say it. 10% for 23 years is chicken scratch compared to what they should be paying. Can I pay 10% of my taxes for 23 years, please? You wouldn't do it for me, but you're doing it for them. And then once that tax base comes where it's got to turn around, they got to pay the 90%. Ashley Capital's going to pack their bags and they're going to leave you guys, and it's going to end up like Detroit. It's going to be empty warehouses all over the place. I've seen it. I drove around the country for 15 years. You mix that crap in, and when it's time for them people to be accountable to the residents, they bail. And they're going to do it again right here. I hope I live long enough, I'm sitting down there in Alabama, so I can write a letter up here to whoever's sitting here as council at that time, say, I told you so. I'm sorry, you guys should be ashamed that you even, during COVID, when we couldn't come here, you made a deal with Ashley Capital. During COVID, we weren't allowed here. If you didn't have internet, you couldn't get involved any which way, or couldn't go to the library, they were closed. I think that was a pretty backhanded deal at the expense of us citizens. My property value is going to definitely go down. It's ridiculous, and you give me 3 minutes of your time. Is that my buzzer?
6 minutes.
Oh, well, thank you. 6 minutes. I appreciate it.
Well,
I appreciate it. I appreciate the extra time, Mr. Chairman, I really do, because,
No
sometimes
problem.
it's more than 3 minutes to be able to
No,
express what's going on.
no problem. You got a good point there. No
You know,
problem.
This is my life right here.
Thank you.
Semis rolling down the street, our house rattling, my doors don't act right anymore. It's just destroying our homes. It's gonna get worse.
John? John?
Mr. Wadsworth?
If I could respond, just real quickly, there's no doubt that there's a problem on Wick Road with the trucks, the cars, the speeders. But what I take away from what this gentleman says, and Mayor, you should take us to the chief, the police should not go to someone's house and tell them there's nothing they can do. That is the last thing the residents want to hear from a police officer that knocks on your door. I'm retired. I worked in this town for years. I never told nobody there's nothing I can do about it. that gets the hair on my back. That's my opinion, that's all.
Thank you.
Through the chair, real quick.
Oh, Ms. Talley?
Mayor, I remember Mr. Franklin being here before. Did anybody follow up or talk? Did anybody talk with you, Mr. Franklin, since the last time you came here?
You put a tattletale down by our house, and when people grow up now, they need to, they'll slow down for it, as soon as they got past it, they floor it. So you guys are getting lousy readings, you know, it doesn't give an accurate reading of what's going on. I mean, anybody knows it's there, they slow down because they think that, well, I might get a ticket from this thing, so they slow down for a minute, once they pass it, they floor it. Yeah, it's so bad on Wick Road, I don't dare back out into Wick Road. So I have to back into my driveway, which I give plenty of warning. First, my turn signal, 500 yards before, then my four ways. Then I have a light on my, a warning beacon in my front windshield I light up, which blinks everywhere. And you know, people won't give me 5 seconds to back into my driveway. They'll fly right at my door, almost slam into my wife's side, and they then give me the finger, yell and scream at me, and think I should sit in my car and shut up. Well, I'm not that kind of person. You know, I'll get out and ask them, you know, how stupid they, you know, can you be, and look at my four-ways, they're on. You can't give me 3 seconds of your time to safely back into my driveway. You have absolutely no respect for me, so I have none for them at that point. You know, it's gonna escalate out there on the road. I'll probably end up shot by one of these idiots. You know?
Thank you. Mr. Miller? Mr. Miller?
Good evening to the council. Thank you so much. I appreciate your words, sir. I appreciate the fact that you were given the time to speak. After all the accolades about how great the city of Romulus is, I want to tell you folks, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say today. I've been involved in Romulus politics for over 40 years. I'm 80 years old. I've lived in Romulus since 1946. I graduated from Romulus High School, so have all my children, and now the third generation, my grandchildren, and my little granddaughter, and my oldest granddaughter. She just graduated from kindergarten. Wonderful little thing. I was elected a city councilman about 20 years ago. And I found out during that time I had to fight the administration and the city council. Also those outsiders and members of the Good Old Boy Network who took advantage of the mayor's interests more than they took advantage or interest of the citizens. And it actually exists today. Nothing has changed. Time has changed. I'm older, but nothing has changed. During that time, I worked for the citizens free by giving all the money that I got from my city council job to charity. The only councilman to have ever done that, and probably the only councilman that will ever do it. Because it takes courage to do the unusual. Because I believe in public service. That's what it's called. Public service. How much money do I get? My message is to you folks, and I want to thank every one of you for being here tonight. I want you to know that somebody cares about you being in this chamber. This chamber is where the power is at. The power is not at home watching it on TV. You need to look into the faces of those people who have power over you, because they're the ones that are directing your lives in this city. The power is in these chambers. As long as the folks that are on TV stay at home and refuse to participate in these chambers, you will lose. Finally, As we watch the demise of this city, I watched it when it was a vibrant place. Now it's deader than Elvis. And all the vibrant places are around it. Taylor, used to be called Taylor, Tucky, has turned in, and I have a place in Kentucky. And my wife's from Kentucky, so I have a right to say what they said about Taylor. And now it has grown into a vibrant city with every amenity that you would want. Belleville. Belleville used to be nothing but a place we went to go fish. And now look at it. It's vibrant. It's exploding. Holy cow, I counted one time down Belleville Road over 120 businesses. and Romulus has got the DDA propping up the city of Romulus with low rent, which half the people are usually late on. One of them hasn't paid taxes. And the citizens are standing by wondering why we don't have a store in town when Dollar General generally goes into every low-income town, but they won't even come into the city of Romulus. So here's the last of it. I appreciate your time, sir. Finally, the downtown is a joke. You can talk. Miss Talley can sit up there and say one Romulus all she wants to say. You cannot fool these people. And you can't, you're only fooling yourself. The only thing a politician wants after the day of the election is to figure out how to get elected again. Here we are, downtown's a joke, big box building, toxic injection well, businesses no other cities want. This city has become the laughing stock of southeastern Michigan. If you don't believe that, ask a real politician, and they'll tell you. Now, see, Miss Talley always wants to bring up God. Thank you, sir. May I have a moment or two? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Appreciate that. See, Miss Talley always wants to bring up God. Okay, let me have a word about that. Praise His name. Indeed, praise His name. But Matthew 9:26, there are none so blind as those who cannot see. If you can't see what's going on in this city, if you don't understand that, if you don't change this city council, except for that lady sitting right there, who has taken on truth to power, if you don't change the people that are in these seats, your destiny's already fixed. Thank you so much.
Are there any other comments from the audience? Yes.
Thank you, Council. I don't know if my comment is good, bad, or ugly. Last week, I have to piggyback off of the Wick Road situation. My car broke down on Wick Road. I got a post from the mayor about the burrito bar, jumped up, ran over to the burrito bar. On my way back, my car stopped on Wick Road, 3 feet from the railroad tracks. And traffic is backed up. 18-wheelers are humming past me like nothing. And my niece was in the car with me. She's crying. I had already called AAA. They were on their way. But I went to dial 911 to see if I could get police assistance. I hit 9 and turned next to me, and there was a squad car sitting right there. He said, "What do you need me to do?" I explained the situation. He said, "I can't leave you here." Now there's 3 police cars around me, protecting me like they were Secret Service and I'm the president. They said, the way these trucks are coming down this road, we cannot leave you here. And they protected me. First I was crying, then I felt safe. So I wanted to thank the police department, okay? But that Wick Road is terrible. It's crazy. You have to do something about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience?
Say real quick, if they're going down quick, they're going down Cox, and we'll get out of the name, but they're going around, and that's exactly what's happening.
Okay, you have another comment, sir? Come.
Andre Johnson, resident. I'm sorry that my question or concern is not as serious as everybody else's, but I would like to know if there's a short-term or a long-term plan for restoring the parks, such as Elmer Johnson, because I've been waiting, like for 2 years, I've been having Elmer Johnson rented to bring a function here. And I guess I just can't wait no longer, because this will be like the 3rd year. And I went up there, and it was kind of like a wreck, really. And our kids deserve it because, you know, even during the pandemic, that was one of the few places that they probably could go and do some things. And I don't know if any of you guys been there lately, but the baseball diamond are ruined. Even the volleyball thing, and that just takes sand. You know, it's ridiculous. And so I was asking the Parks and Rec director, and every time I asked about something, she said it was like no money there for that. So I was even willing, and I am willing to help in any manner possible, and I'm sure it's people that don't mind adopting some of the parks and helping out. And everything she said, it wasn't that even if you volunteer to do it, they just don't have the money for these simple things like the basketball court. Now you're gonna have to redo it, resurface the whole thing, because let the grass and stuff grow up in between the cracks, and that's kind of happening everywhere, even with the tennis courts that's around and everything. So I don't know what, but our kids need this stuff to do. And I'm bringing a lot of people here, and that's going to be their impression of Romulus. And that's not the impression I want to give them, because, you know, that's been a great park in the past, and I just think we should be doing a little better, and maybe somebody can help me with what's the plan of short-term and long-term, and how can I help? And what help do you need from any of the other residents? Because I'm sure the older people like me want to help to make sure our kids have what they need to be successful in places to go where they're not good places to go. And I don't need 3 minutes, that's all I have. I don't know if I touched on everything.
Okay.
Just sand or all this stuff like that.
Okay. He will respond to that on the unfinished business.
Yeah, I'll respond to all these during unfinished business.
Yeah, he'll respond to that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming up, sir. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jerry Shout, and I live on Wick Road in Romulus. I had not planned on getting up here and speaking tonight, but that gentleman that came up and spoke a few minutes ago, I wish he had stuck around. I really would have liked to have been able to thank him for his service to this community, because it sounds like he truly did try to service this community, and I feel that politicians from the top in Washington to right here on this council are not taking the job seriously when it comes to you are supposed to represent the citizens' interest. We are the ones who put you people in office, if I'm not mistaken. Did y'all run for office, or did you just get the job through an interview? That's a question.
We all ran for
We all ran.
You all ran for elections, and did anybody from Ashley Capital vote to put you people in here? Or was it the citizens of this community? Again, that's his question.
Good point.
We did it, not them, am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So you are supposed to be our representatives, not theirs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Any other comments from the audience? If there's no other comments from the audience, we'll close that part out.
Mayor, didn't we bid out work to do some work, didn't we bid out for someone to do work on Emma Johnson Park? Maybe, if not this year, last year?
I couldn't hear you.
Your microphone, honey.
I said, wasn't it a bid put out for work to be done on Emma Johnson Park? If it wasn't this year, wasn't it last year?
On Amazon Park?
Elmer Johnson.
No, well, and that was one of the issues I wanted to respond to under unfinished business. I'm shocked to hear that, so I'm gonna be taking a visit to that park tomorrow myself and take a look at that. That's open. It should be running. It should be taken care of and ready for residents to enjoy and use. So I'm concerned with that comment, so I will definitely be going out there taking action on that. We have a crew, we have funding. That's one of our marquee parks, so that should be on point. So we'll definitely taking a look at that one. The Wick Road issue and the speeding, it is a terrible issue. When we knew when Wick and Wayne and Ecorse was going to be shut down, we knew that traffic was going to go wherever they could. So they had the detour sign out, and the detours were all marked according to the plan. And we put additional signs out to protect the residential areas because we knew what people would do. They'd follow their phones and their GPS and whatever's more convenient to them. And PD wrote a record amount of citations. It still didn't curb that behavior. So we're going to find a way to do it. And I like to think that maybe Chief Faunus was misquoted or maybe he didn't speak it clearly when he's saying that there's nothing he can do. They just lost 4 more officers. So City Council approved hiring more officers, and that would take our number to 58 badged officers out on the roads. And they just lost 4 more officers to other communities who were offering more money, and then also one of them went to Texas. So we can't get to that 50 number, and if we're to have that traffic unit, we need to get there. So we're going to keep working with them. If not, we'll revisit the speed bump issue. We're going to find a way to slow them down. I mean, like I said before, I live in that area, and it is a problem. We knew they were coming. They go down Cogswell, they go down Wick, they go through neighborhoods if they have to. I've seen them go right through the Avalon neighborhood, and we don't have a solve for other than writing citations. And we thought when we came out right off the bat and we were heavy-handed with the citations that the word would get out and they'd stop doing it. Even the signs being in those areas, that wasn't part of the detour, but we thought we'd try to curb that behavior. Well, they run right into the signs. So it amazes me the lack of regard for the laws and the safety of people. Wick Road's especially important too because school will be open in a minute and there's no sidewalk for the kids to walk on. So we're going to find a way to address this issue. And like I said, I don't blame PD because they're having that national crisis right now where nobody wants to be a police officer. And it's, every time I meet with elected officials or leaders of other communities, they say the same thing. They can't keep police officers. Auburn Hills just threw a big contract out there, and it took a couple more officers. And then Westland offers a bigger contract, and it takes a couple more. We're hoping the dust settles on this trend right now, but really, police officers are free agents. And if they're going to go to where they can to make the most money, and I don't blame them. It's a dangerous job. The bigger problem we have is nobody in the next generation wants to be a police officer. We're seeing the same in fire department. So we need to hold our first responders high, and we do in this community, but it's a tough situation. It's not just Romulus, and if we don't have enough officers and they're taking care of crime issues, they can't sit on traffic duty. So we're working on some creative things right now with RPD to give that traffic unit another, a breath of fresh air, but I'll definitely talk to the chief tomorrow on this issue because you're right, it's an issue. It's an issue on Cogswell, it's an issue on Wick. In Avalon, I've seen it. I've almost been run into over in Avalon. And I've had guys, when I try to slow them down and use my vehicle to maneuver it, I've had them flip me off. So I've been where you're at. I understand it, and it's frustrating. It's aggravating. I'm thankful nobody's been hurt yet, and we'll try to find a way to curb this behavior. So, but I don't think we haven't found an answer yet, obviously. So.
So Mr. Mayor, the chief of police did say that his hands are tied because of the limited officers and all that. He did explain that, but still, as he said, ain't nothing he can do about it. Something's got to be done. I mean, the cars,
I agree.
Cars, you just got to take care of them. Sometimes they bring us all, they're idiots. But them semis, it's no commercial vehicle. We just put in the water main down the road, correct? We're paying higher water prices because that's what we told we wanted. Well, we are. You look at our bills every 2 months now, they're a little higher. So we are paying for that them trucks are on a Class B road, which is not made for.
Okay.
Which means the structure underneath is not made to support that pipe that they've got there. They're destroying that. You know, call it the Waymaster. We tried, but they tell us that the road belongs to Romulus. So unless you guys bring in the Waymaster, he's not coming.
Yep.
Bring in the Waymaster, when he starts giving $2,500 tickets, it'll be tearing up that truck driver. I guarantee you that.
And I would hope so. And you'd like it in a perfect world, it wouldn't get to this. People would be respectful, but obviously these guys are not. And we're going to find a way to solve this issue one way or the other. I'll take it.
Okay, other comments, as far as the meeting goes, you can discuss that with the mayor, because we had public comment already, and you can discuss it with the mayor after the meeting. No problem. Okay.
Thank you, and I'll definitely get your information after, if you have the Waymaster's direct line, we'll reach out to them. We're gonna do everything we can to solve that issue, because it is an issue, and like I said, school is starting soon, and you know, that's one of the things we told Wayne County in the meeting last week, like, look, you need to wrap up this intersection, because somebody's gonna get hurt. And we're actively trying to work as fast as we can to hire new police officers, so, I don't have the solutions yet, but we're gonna keep working until we find them. Like I said, I made a note here about EJs in our parks. I'd love to give you your information. And we have you on record for volunteering to help, so I'm gonna get your home information, and we're gonna track you down, so I appreciate that. And we're gonna keep working with it. And I have much love and respect for Mr. Miller and his comments and his dedication to his community, but Romulus isn't dead. You know, we're struggling right now. We're gonna find a way, so I'm gonna keep working as hard as we can. We're gonna work with this board and all the residents here who wanna get involved, and we're gonna find a way to get this thing taken care of and right this ship. And we're having some momentum now, and I'm looking forward to the future. It's just, it never happens fast enough for us, right? So we'll continue to try, and I'm not giving up yet, so thank you.
And to the mayor, I know Johnny was telling me with the trucks, because some of them try to find their way through the subdivision, Avalon Meadows, and if you would get the front license plate, not the back of the trailer, because any truck can be pulling that trailer, and then turn it over to the police so they can contact that company. Because once that company start finding them for using roads that they shouldn't be using, along with the Romulus Police, you take a picture of the actual truck and that license plate. That identifies who's driving it, and that can stop a lot of it. If you just let them go through and complain, they're not gonna stop, but once they know that the residents are taking pictures and turning them in, maybe that'll put slow them down some.
You know, it's a larger picture to solve, but I'm also working with our legislators in the state to get Michigan to be a friendly state to do the license plate reader technology. In a residential area, in a construction zone, we have technology that can just take a picture and send a ticket. And why should it be, you know, your tax dollars paying for an officer to sit there and waste their time because somebody can't drive and be courteous? So we're a long way off on that. That's the big solve. That's gonna help with the police shortage too, I think. So we're trying to find that with like I said, our legislators have to draft those laws and regulations in the state that'll make it so Michigan is more at ease with writing those electronic citations for, like I said, just right now, residential areas and construction zones where people could get killed by errant drivers. So we'll find a way to solve these issues. I don't have the answers for you right now, but we're gonna keep working on them.
Thank you. Are there any more unfinished business from council?
Are we on the unfinished business through the chair? We on the unfinished business?
We're not there yet, are we?
We kind of did, I believe, a
You're
cart
on
before the
unfinished.
horse type situation, but we are under unfinished business.
Go ahead, go to the mayor.
Yeah.
Is this unfinished business?
Yeah.
Go ahead first.
Oh, okay. Just real quick, we had a resident come in last week regarding, and you weren't here, Mayor, but I think Julie was here, and she was talking about the unpaved residential road located on Washington Street. Did you get that memo regarding that?
We're working with the issue right now,
Okay.
and it's larger scale, and we had another meeting with the roads team because we got to solve that issue too. You know, Lansing's not going to help out with that. We're getting grants for some roads in some areas, but our residential neighborhoods continue to be an issue. Act 51 money, and I won't get into that whole argument, but it's a broken system. We're going to try to work with that. But Roberto right now is putting together a program. We're going to get some numbers, and we're going to talk about possible bonding out for some neighborhood street repairs, and we'll be bringing that to council when we have that plan, the information, of course, the price tag on it. So right now, we're in the beginning stage of trying to figure out how to run that program and figure out where it needs to be, but Washington will be on. You know, there's some repairs in all neighborhoods. It won't be the large scale we were talking about years ago when we ran that roads millage campaign, but there are some definite roads or neighborhood streets that need to be addressed. and we just don't have the funding for them right now, so we have to find a funding mechanism. So
No,
that'll
I
be
get
before
it. But if we, and Julie is really good at reaching out to the residents and when they come out and speak. So I just want, if she can reach out to that resident, just to let her know.
Do you have that Julie is out of office, so do you have that information that I could get from you?
I don't have it directly,
Okay,
but I'm
I'll find
sure
it.
we.
I'll
do we?
find it.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Mr. Wadsworth?
This is unfinished business?
Yes.
Okay, this obviously doesn't seem as important as what we talked about the last hour, because that was very important. But Roberto, along Wick Road and over by Huron River Drive and 275, you'll see sewer pipes been sitting there for 6 weeks. And I know on Wick Road, they still have some equipment left behind. Is there anything we can do to get that picked up? I mean, I think you know what I'm referring to.
You're
Under
referring
the
to the
viaduct at
GLWA
Huron River
project?
Drive?
So the Huron River Drive, that's the I-275 project. They put storm sewer, they've got to cut Huron River Drive, but they can't do that until there's a large gas main to be moved. Until that happens, they can't put in that storm sewer right there.
So that's got a purpose to be there? then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and the last thing is the paving between Eureka and Pennsylvania and Huron River Drive. It's been a month, they've only been there 3 days. How soon will that wrap up, I guess?
Right, I have it on my agenda to contact our inspection department to see what the contractor's schedule is. So to give you a little bit of information, you recall back when I brought that contract to City Council for approval, it was supposed to start in May, and I want to clarify that the contract isn't with the City of Romulus, it's actually the state of Michigan in the contractor, so that's being built by the state of Michigan. We were putting pressure on him to start at the end of May. He kept deferring. What we found out was he bid out too much work and then got understaffed, and that's why he's having problems all over the place. So the state's involved. We're putting pressure on the state. We're putting pressure on the contractor. We hope to have him out here soon again, but he only has a few more days worth of work. But yeah, it's an absolute inconvenience that it's taking this long. It's not desirable, but.
I mean, it's nothing compared to what's going on in Wick Road, but the people that live there wondered about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there any more unfinished business? Number 10 is new business.
Mayor, I was sitting here thinking with all the construction going on and with all the traffic issues, you know, we just approved the block party for Avalon Meadows. Something is gonna have to really be done for that, because I don't know what the police or the fire department was thinking about, because you got a lot of folks that use our subdivision to get from Wayne Road over to E-Course. Now, you're gonna shut down 2 of the streets that's gonna block that. So what type of protection, if that road is blocked up? I know you said it would be a fire lane. Well, one side of the street is the fire lane, and the other side of the street, someone's parking on it. So what's left? So before September comes, the police department, the fire department need to really look into that to see how they're gonna allow that to happen for those hours that block party is going on. Because right now, you got folks that live on this side of the city that works at the GM plant or further down on E-Course that's using that subdivision. So if that one street where the block party is normally at is blocked off, what you gonna do?
We'll take a closer look at it. You're right with that added traffic in there.
Yeah.
Construction.
Yeah.
It's going to create an additional.
I mean,
hazardous
just for
activity.
that day, because some people don't care. They trying to get where they're going. So you don't want the street to be blocked off and somebody end up getting hit because somebody is trying to get where they're going, regardless of it's an event going on.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any more new businesses? Number 11 is communication.
Through the chair.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ms.
just a
Talley?
couple of things. It's been a very intense meeting tonight. A lot of things coming up about our city, what's wrong with our city, a lot going on. But I just have to reiterate this again, that Mayor, I know you and your administration, and you've been saying is working on solves. That's been your message, is working on solves to help solve these things. And we know it's a lot going on in our city of Romulus that needs to be fixed. But thank you that your focus is on solves and your team on working on solves for the city. So just wanted to reiterate that fact again. And then in the midst of everything that's going on in our city and everything that's going on, I just want to highlight some good news in our city. We had a lot of street signing and street honors in the last couple of weeks. And some of the residents that were honored this year was Early Mosley, Jerry Laddick, Kenneth McKevich, Oscar Hamilton Sr., Charles Curley, and Mary Carter, last but not least, but she had hers on this past Tuesday, I think. So I just want to shout out to all these people that were honored in our city, who made an impact in the city of Romulus, and they're honoring with the street sign in our city for this fiscal year. So shout out to them and their families. There's been a lot of discussion this evening about the police, and the mayor gave us the great news about the pension, the grant for the help with the pension. We have a resident here, Yada Phillips, PPIC, who will be hosting an event for the police and the fire department. It's an appreciation at the Artisan on August 19th, 2023, 36542 Goddard Road, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Again, that's Saturday, August 19th. So if you would like to come by and show your appreciation for our police and fire department, please come by on that day, the 19th, from 4 to 8 at the Artisan Reserve on Goddard. I want to shout out to our PAC committee. It's our police department. Again, talking about police, they had a bike ride at Hell Creek on the 29th on a Saturday, and it was very well attended. We had residents come out. They saw all the balloons and all the hoopla, and just came by, and it was a very nice turnout on the side of town with Hell Creek at Hell Creek School. So just shout out to the police, Monique Talley, who was heading the committee for the PAC, and all the police, fire, and everybody that came out and attended, and everybody that came out in bike ride, and all the residents that came in bike ride to show their support. So thank you, everybody who came and support that event. And then lastly, again, I just thank the mayor, and it was just Kevin Krause who talked about these retail strategies coming to our city to help put our city and recognize our city more and bring traffic and bring recognition to our city. So I'm very encouraged with those strategies to use by retail strategies to help move our city along. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Yes, and I would just like to say, when people come and voice their opinion, it's good, because now you know how they feel. And we, as elected officials, we have to accept how people feel. It doesn't lessen who we are. They're just expressing their feelings. And so we shouldn't get upset or take it personal that people come up and say things. If it's not true, then you don't worry about it. But what we have to do, and not just us, but as the young lady said, elected officials, I don't call them politics, I call them politrickers, because they trick you to believe one thing and they do something else. Some of them, and I'm not saying all of them. So what we have to do is listen, because when we're knocking at your door, we listen. So once we get in office, we have to continually listen, and we have to be concerned. Talking about all the wonderful, beautiful things that's happening in the city, if it's not benefiting all residents, it don't matter.
I think you need to tell that to the council.
No. I'm just saying, I'm talking to the residents also, because a lot of times residents don't come until it become personal. We need you to be here just because. Because a lot of times, out of sight, out of mind, things happen. And it is. The mayor, like I said earlier, I knew him when he was in the, before that.
Well, the building inspector.
So, he's a good guy. I know that. We may not agree on everything, and I would never, because God don't allow us to do that, I would never try to attack any individual up here, whether I like them or not. But the truth is the truth. And as one gentleman said, I can't remember who said it, people are not dumb. They see, they hear, they feel, they live in it. We have to do better. Whether, we were all voted in by the people. We didn't vote ourselves in. We didn't walk in the door. So we have to start listening to the people. And I'm who I am because that's who I am. And no one can take that from me. So attacking me, lying on me, I don't care. They lied on Jesus. Who am I? So when someone come up here and say something, I don't take it offense. You know, I have to look in the mirror and say, is it true? You know, because that's how you check yourself. So we have to stop, because now we have a seat and think we're bigger than everybody else. We have to stop and start listening and doing things that are actually benefit and helping the mayor. When we hear about a business, call the mayor office, tell them about it, call Roberta, talk to the city attorney. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid because you want to be a part of the little rascals or something. Do our job. And that's all I'm saying. I sit back for 4 meetings, and I just sit back and watch. And I was like a regular resident. I was like, wow, really? I've seen it for myself. Trying to sugarcoat everything every time you open your mouth, that makes it worse because people are not blind. They're not. And whatever you're saying with your words, if your actions is not corresponding, that makes it worse. So I just say to the residents, thank you for coming out. Thank you for voicing your opinion. You know, hope that the mayor and the administration can work with you, that we can work these things out. Because it's not so much against you, but if we don't know, how can we fix it? Thank you.
My turn. First of all, there was some birthdays mentioned earlier. Happy birthday to the August people. I just want to say my wife's birthday was August the 4th. I thank you for all the calls and texts for during her birthday also. And, you know, I'm a large fan of the Lions. I always mention that. They keep stuff halfway. You know, the Lions are picked to win the division this year and maybe the Super Bowl. So it's just something I just throw out there just to keep the morale halfway decent, you know, just fun. You know, I don't mean no harm. I have a little following. Lions, we joke and have stuff. But we should be excited that we have a team now that has been so bad in the last, since I was born, maybe. So, you know, that's a long time. But it's just nice to have the Lions and people in Romulus just to get together and have some fun for once in a while. Thank you.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I want to make sure the clerk is not here. I was going to wait, but actually, I just need to get it off my chest. I want the clerk, whether the council agree with me or not, anytime a council member, whether it be the mayor, even the city attorney, even a city employee, if they have death in their family, I want to make sure that we recognize that. Even if you don't know where the funeral is, or if you don't know where the church is going to be, send the flowers and the cards to their home. And it should come out of the council's budget. And please share this with the clerk. I know she can watch the meeting. She's the secretary to the council. It's totally unfair for some to get certain things, as I was saying earlier, Mayor, and others not. So I don't care who it is. If it's a city employee, if it's an elected official, if they have death in their family, whether you like that person or not, make sure that that family gets everything the other family gets. Because it's wrong when you have some council members sit up here and see some get certain treatments and others don't. That's wrong, that's unfair, it's not right, and from this day on, it shouldn't happen. The clerk is the secretary to the council, and she should make sure out of the council budget, not asking each council member to go in their pocket, but that's what our budget is for. And so I just want to make that a matter of record because it shouldn't happen. It's an ugly feeling, and it shouldn't happen to anyone. It shouldn't. Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any more communications from council? If there's no more communications, number 12 is adjournment. The
So
time is
moved.
9:25.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Tally?